In last 2 weeks, I spoke with 13 students who are currently studying in some great medical colleges of the country. And one of them scored 360 out of 360 in NEET biology. I was discussing with them regarding some important topics like what were their study pattern, what were their study hours, in which hour they were more productive, what is their specific way of understanding a topic and memorizing a topic, what is the way of their revision. So on a broad note, I saw everyone has a different pattern. It's a different year, and all of us at the end of 2024 and the start of 2025, we have had some resolution that this year will be different. We won't repeat the mistakes that we did in 2024. But most of us can relate that at certain point we are still repeating the same mistakes that we did in 2024. Every year we come up with a new beginning, with a new threshold. We set our own limits and we fail. You need not to follow anyone's study pattern. As I spoke to them, I figured out each of them had a different pattern. Everyone has some productive 4 to 5 hours, which is entirely different. Some are very productive in the afternoon time, whereas some in the evening time. Mostly I saw many of them in the night hours. Some were very disciplined from the very childhood. They are very productive in the early morning hours. So the productive hours for different students were different. So while discussing about all those topics, I figured out something. With each one of them, I talked regarding their improvement in biology score. So there I found a unique pattern. Each one of them used to read the NCERT book, which is something that you all know and everyone says. But the main highlight is when they read the NCERT. Did they read NCERT at the end of the chapter altogether? Not actually correct. The pattern is they took the notes, they read those notes from the copy. Then that specific topic they read from the NCERT. And this is a unique pattern, a pattern common to all of them. NCERT is something presently all of us know that this is the only book for NEET. But the problem is when to read NCERT and how to read NCERT is a big question mark. So for scoring 360 out of 360 as the main entitlement of this video, the first highlight is you need to read NCERT, and that is inevitable. But when and how? First, you will read the NCERT after you read that topic from your notes. So after you read your notes, class notes, simultaneously from that particular topic, you read the NCERT textbook. Then you compare, then you understand each and every lines of NCERT. On one hand you have the notes, on the other hand you have the NCERT textbook. There you get a proper idea about the NCERT textbook. Each and every line of NCERT is then more clear to you than it was previously. So we need not to waste time that we will complete the entire notes first, then we will start reading the NCERT. The best way is you take the notes and simultaneously you complete the NCERT textbook. You will get the hidden meaning of each line of NCERT. The second thing they said is about the PYQs. Now previous year questions are something we all know are important, but there is also a unique pattern. The PYQs which are most important are those from 2020 to the current year. From 2020, more or less the question pattern has changed. That is, from the COVID year, the NEET was delayed on 2020. And from that pattern, the question pattern has actually changed a lot. And there is a uniformity, there is a trend that the question paper follows. There are more number of assertion reason questions. There are more number of statement based questions. There are more match the following. So it is a trend that the question actual pattern has changed. So we need to focus more on solving PYQs from 2020 to 2024, that is the current year. Next, you need to make another level of PYQs from 2016 to 2019, 4 years, 16, 17, 18 and 19. These 4-year PYQs you need to go through. Then after completing those PYQs, then you will complete the PYQs from 2009 to 2015. And the questions that came before 2009 are currently irrelevant. Mostly because at that time, 2008, the NCERT was majorly revised. So the NCERT textbook before 2008 was different. So those questions, if we do now, are quite irrelevant. So for relevant PYQs, if I say, it would be from 2009 to current year. So, and that too I have divided in 3 levels, 2009 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24. And this is the order on which you will focus. The PYQs of 2020, 21, 22, 23 and 2024 are of utmost importance. While you solve these PYQs and the PYQs from 2016 to 19, you will see that there is a significant change. From 16 to 19, the question pattern was different, whereas from 20 to current year, the question type is different. The questions might be easier, but they are more time consuming. So, solving PYQs is necessary, but in a very practical manner. So far, we have discussed about 2 points: to read NCERT, how and when. Second point we focused is PYQs, but with weightage. That is year-wise distribution, which are more important and which are less likely to be asked. The third thing you need to focus is the diagrams of your NCERT textbook. The diagrams of your NCERT textbook has certain labelings. I am not telling that these labelings will be removed and will come in the exam, although there is high chance. There are certain labelings, certain terms in the labelings of those diagrams which are not anywhere in the NCERT. I am not giving any example currently, although there are many that are currently going through in my mind. But you will see certain terms that are given in the labelings of NCERT, and these terms are nowhere described in the NCERT textbook. So you need to put more focus on understanding those terms, because if a question is been asked from those terms, you cannot say that this is out of the NCERT textbook. So just removing the labelings of these diagrams and practicing the diagrams, it is important, but you also need to know the words of those diagrams, the meaning of those terms that are being described. But you also need to know the definitions, the theory behind those terms that are given in the NCERT textbook. Don't skip that diagram part. It is very essential. The next thing we should focus is on question practice. Now comes another challenge. From which book will we do the question practice? See, this particular subtopic I have divided into 2 groups. You might be a student of fiction or you might not be a student of fiction. In general, those who are even not studying in fiction, there are multiple books relevant to NCERT. You can practice those books. There is a book called Master the NCERT, Word to Word NCERT, NCERT at your fingertips, and many more. But a big problem with those books are that there are many questions on those books that are out of NCERT. And there we struggle which questions to pick and which to discard. So for that, in fiction, we have a specific module. We have a different set of question practice material. It is called the NCERT Unlocked. Here we have each and every questions of NCERT with page number. from a particular page, we designed 5, 6, 7, 10 questions topic wise. After all the topics were covered, all the pages of NCERT were covered, then we have given miscellaneous questions from all the topics collectively from the NCERT textbook. On that material, we have also given the past year questions or the previous year questions from approximately 14 and 15 to current year. Then we have given some specific questions like statement based questions. Interestingly, in statement based questions also, we have made two different types. First type is the question would have only two statements, statement 1, statement 2. 4 options, 1 correct, 2 correct, both incorrect. And the other type is 4 to 5 statements. You need to read 4 to 5 statements and then you need to select the options. Which one are correct or which one are incorrect. Accordingly, the options are being given. So, if you are practicing questions regularly, you will find it relatable that there is a type of statement based questions that has only 2 statements. There is another type of statement based questions that have 4 to 5 statements, and we need to focus on both of them. Then we have a separate section for assertion reason. We have a separate section for match the following type questions. We have introduced this all under the NCERT Unlocked series. And before we start the NCERT Unlocked, as I have said in class, after we complete a lecture, a DPP is given. Either we solve that DPP in the class itself, or else we can take it home, we read the class notes, the NCERT, and then we complete that DPP, and each and every question will be solved. And you get some confidence while solving those questions, because the questions will get solved. How much might be the level of questions, how much tricky might be the question, you will be able to solve them. And there is no chance of backlog. We have designed the program in such a way that you do not have any chance of backlog here. First you read the class notes, then you read the NCERT, then you solve the DPPs. After solving the DPPs, you go with the module and the NCERT Unlocked simultaneously. If you have read the notes and NCERT properly, you will not struggle with the theory of the module. Just read it once. There are some important boxes. There is a summary at the end of the chapter. You read those parts also very carefully before solving the questions. We have tried to give all those PYQs that have came in some specific important notes form, in some special boxes, or at the end of the chapter synopsis. We have tried to provide them. The next thing is the chapter wise test. Once you complete that chapter, you need to give a test. And that is your measure, that is your analysis to yourself. Mostly we skip test in a fear that our preparation is not up to the mark, and while the rank list will be given, our name in that list will be on the bottom side. And this gives us an inferiority complex for which we very often skip tests for whatsoever reason. So we need to focus more on the basic part. The first thing that we need to focus on is reading the notes, the NCERT, solving the DPPs, NCERT Unlocked, module questions, and then give a proper test. This test will tell you what are your areas of strength and what are your areas of weakness. Sometimes we say that from a particular chapter, try to find out in which topic you are struggling and in which topic you feel easy. So for students, it is very often tough to find out the difficult part. So how can you figure that out? By giving a chapter wise test. Once you give a test, you will yourself realize which parts are weak. I am not telling you will realize it after the results are published. You will realize it while you are attempting the test itself. So this is a very important part. And the last thing we all know is revision. Once the chapter is done, it is up to the mark. You need to revise that every 1.5 or 2 months. Because that chapter was properly done by following all the steps that I have repeatedly mentioned 4 to 5 times here in this video, it will not take much time to revise that chapter. So it's better to take a latent period of 1.5 or 2 months and then you revise that chapter again. It will not take much time, as previously this chapter was done in a great manner. And what about the backlogs? If they are already existing, definitely we will make a different video on how to clear the backlogs. I am not telling if the backlogs are present, I am telling the backlogs are present. But in this specific video, we will not be talking about the backlogs. I am talking about the current solution, that is the chapters that we are doing now. There should be no backlog. For solving the backlogs, the current topic should not be a backlog. So my main focus would be on this basic 5 steps. The first, we will read the NCERT with our class notes. The second is we will solve the PYQs with the weightage. Third is we will see each and every diagram of NCERT along with their labelings very carefully. Fourth thing is we will do question practice either from any book available in the market or the materials that we provide. And the last thing is a test. Although with a test the chapter is over, but we will make a proper schedule to revise that chapter again in 90 to 120 days. And we need to follow these 5-6 steps for each and every chapter of biology. This is how you will attain what the entitlement of the video is. That is 360 out of 360 in biology. There are certain misconceptions as well. Firstly, there are no topics that have more weightage or less weightage in NEET biology. Each and every topic has equal weightage. There are multiple times that more questions were asked from ecology than from genetics, than from reproduction. So you cannot say a particular topic has more weightage or less weightage, more tough or more easier. Don't fall into that trap. Be disciplined. Repeat this 6 steps for every chapter. This would boost your preparation. This would help you attain 360 out of 360. Don't trust me blindly. Think practically what I have said.